Good morning, everybody. This is Martin John, and we are here to talk about the Tao Te Ching. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text written in the 6th century BC, presumably by a guy Lao Tzu. And I was thinking about something this morning. A couple of things. Actually, one of them was, this sort of world of celebrity and cult of personality and all of those things. I saw the news of the people going up to space, the women going up to space. And it's great, going up to space and doing whatever. But it's funny how, and it just sent me down this sort of thing. It's like celebrities. They sent up celebrities. So it's just about celebrities getting, these experiences. And we could look at that. And that is what it takes for celebrities to be excited now. Going into space. We have lives that are, like most of us, I think, have lives that are, very calm. And my whole idea of being able to appreciate life and appreciate love and all of this stuff. And I ran across a video where Katy Perry was like, it reminded me of how much love there is. And I can't help but think that because it's so easy for her to have things, because she has money and she has celebrity, so she has fame and she has all of these things, it's hard for her to see the subtle, and this reminds me, of course, of the senses, number 12. Colors blind the eyes of men, sounds deafen the ears of men, flavors dull the tongues of men. Thoughts will lead a mind to turmoil. Desire and greed will lead a life to turmoil. Therefore, the master satisfies her inner vision, allowing external cravings to come and go. The external cravings, the I need this thing on the outside to show me my value. Max, how are you doing, man?
Good morning, Martin John.
How have you been?
It's been a roller coaster, but you know what? I'm getting there. I'm there.
It sounds like you're just waking up.
I literally just woke up like 5 minutes ago.
I have to say that brings me so much joy. Just the fact that like this is, I think, one of the first times I've spoken to you in which you've been, to some degree, and don't take any meaning at this, but subdued. You're not up and like ready to go. It's like, and it's really nice to hear your voice in a way that is just sort of like, hey, I'm just getting up and I don't have to run to the next thing all of a sudden.
No, exactly. I feel very calm.
Yeah. There's a couple things, about this, because there's two sides to everything, right? Mm-hmm. There's feeling grounded.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's like, oh, I'm grounded. And there is good around being grounded. However, we know that everything is constantly changing. And so no matter how grounded we feel, at any moment, we can be ungrounded.
Absolutely.
And it's important to be able to be open to that and not freak out when it happens, but just be like, hey, embrace the fact that you're grounded, because it's not going to last forever.
Exactly.
And be here as you are right now. Don't make any definition about it. Don't say, my life is good because I'm grounded.
Right.
Because your life is good, period. And you currently are grounded.
Exactly. No, that's very fair. Like right now I feel calm, but in the next 20 seconds, it could be a zoo out there.
That's right.
Which
you
it
have
often
no control
happens.
over that.
No, exactly. There's no control. And actually, that's one thing I've been able to let go of, is a lot of control.
Yeah.
as a contrarian, I have been able to let go of a lot of control lately and just leave it up to the hands of whatever.
Yeah,
And
just let it unfold.
just let it be. Just let it be, and whatever unfolds, unfolds. And I'm not trying to rush the process, but I'm also trying to make things happen at the same time, so that things don't get lost in translation. But things are going really well.
Yeah, tell me about what's going on.
Yeah, so I'm on the final stretch of my discharge process.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So what that means is we're basically looking for housing right now, at the same time as I have to go to like this kind of day program-y / clubhouse. It's not really a day program. It's like a drop-in center.
Yeah, it's an IOP kind of thing, intensive outpatient sort of thing.
Kind of, yeah, basically.
You're going to have to go like 5 times a week, or
like as much as I want. Like I can go.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice.
Yeah, I can go 3 times a week, 1 week, twice a week, twice a time, twice
the next week. Yeah,
like 4 times the next week. It's really very lackadaisical, which I like.
And when you say you're looking for housing, are you looking for housing like actual apartment for yourself kind of thing, or are you looking for like facilitated housing?
So basically, it's kind of facilitated housing. It's like a mental health shelter. That's where I'm going to end up.
Yeah.
But we're also looking for like a respite bed in between that, because it can take some time to get into the mental health shelter. So the respite beds come a little quicker. So we're looking into that as well. So
that's an intense space to be the respite beds, because there's other people. It's
Yes, exactly.
And it's nothing permanent, and so everybody there is transitional
right, because like it's a 30 to 90 day period. Like you can't stay there for like years, like the mental health shelter I will be going to. Like some people stay there for years. I don't plan on doing that. But because I've been there, I've been there a few times. And I actually don't mind it. I actually don't mind the space. It's very clean. The staff are very kind to me, because they know me very well, and they keep me pretty safe. Because I've had many instances where it wasn't very safe there. So they keep a very watchful eye out for me, which I'm very grateful for. But I just wanted to touch upon the whole space expedition, and how you read that same passage to me about how colors blind the eyes of men and whatnot. And I just wanted to say, like, that's exactly what I thought of when I heard that these celebrities were going up into space. I was like, they can't even appreciate it, because they have so much already. They can't even, they're not getting the gist of it.
Well, like the thing that is like, they were up in space taking selfies. So it was, they were already thinking about the people back on Earth.
Exactly.
They were also already thinking about the future. And they, being present is really what this is always talking about, right? And like colors blind the eyes of men, like trying to impress yourself with colors or sounds or flavors. And it's dulling all of your senses. It's dulling all of your senses. Right.
Because our senses is how we experience the world.
Right.
And if your senses are dulled, you're not experiencing the world as its true self.
Right.
And that just disappointed me so much, honestly. Like, it didn't disappoint me. It just it was just like kind of frustrating because like there's people like us that would give
I
any.
don't know that I would give
I
anything
don't
to
know
go
if
to
I would
space.
give. I don't know if I would give much, but like
But
it would
if
be. We
if
wouldn't
I
be taking selfies and like thinking
right.
about the people on Earth. We'd actually be taking in the experience, and because it's a once in a lifetime thing.
If my life were to unfold in a way that had me go to space, there would be it would be done in a way that was I can only imagine for
Right.
who I am. It would be done in a way that was reverent to the insignificance of me and the planet and the whole of all of it. For them, it was a roller coaster.
Yes, exactly. It was just a fun ride. It was nothing to them.
And it was a fun ride, and it's very similar to the Titanic thing, the sub,
right.
you know, like, and you know, it's just like wealthy people that have everything wanting to go out and then this is in the Tao too, when they say like other people try to convince you to join them in struggle.
Right.
These celebrities, I don't know what their struggles are, but I can only imagine that they have that.
Oh, for sure.
They have their own struggles. It doesn't have to do with buying things. It doesn't have to do with money, because they're probably, maybe, I mean, I don't know. They might be wholly realized humans. I don't know anything about Katy Perry and all of this stuff.
Yeah, me neither.
So the reality is
have to uphold,
right.
Which like is a lot of pressure.
Right. They are under the influence of their own making.
Right,
you know,
absolutely.
of their own celebrity. They're under the influence of so much, because if they say the wrong thing, if they do the wrong thing, if they look the wrong, like all of these women went on there like glam models.
Right. Right.
You know, it's like the amount of influence that is, and I heard, because I don't know if it was like Stephen Colbert or something or whatever. It's like I just watched like the monologues and I heard, you know, something about that, and it's like they're doing these photo shoots, and this is what the world sort of is moving towards, this idea of the face of everything, and it's like the deep stillness has no part in the world today. It's like it's not celebrated at all, and yet the stillness that we can experience is what is really. It's not these. I mean, I remember years ago, can you imagine being Katy Perry? Like, what's going to top this? It's like another tour, and that's the thing. She went up into space, advertised her tour. And it's like, and here it is again, just looking to be entertained, constantly looking to be entertained.
Absolutely. No, I just wanted to touch upon that because I remember distinctly reading that passage with you, and that reminded me so much of what you were talking about. And then you mentioned that passage, and I was like, Martin John, I need to hop on.
Yeah, I'm so glad you did, because I miss you, man. I'm really glad you. I know
I've been MIA for a while. Things have been kind of hectic, but I'm so glad I'm on. All right.
Yeah, me too. Now, do you have a number for today?
Let's do 35.
Yeah, you're so questioning of that. You know, that's interesting, because like we talked about the senses in 12. Right. And now 35 is entitled The Senses Distract. So let's see how all of this comes into play. Those who know Tao cannot be harmed. They remove resistance and peace remains, even amid great pain and danger. Exciting the senses will distract people, while they see Tao as a silly waste of time. If you look for it, you will see nothing. If you listen for it, you will hear nothing. If you use it, It will support you forever.
Wow.
Colors blind the eyes of men. If you look for it, you will see nothing.
Right.
Sounds deafen the ears of men. If you listen for it, if you listen for Tao, you will hear nothing.
Right.
And that's what, it's like, that's the thing. Like, if you use your ears to listen for it, you will hear nothing. And that's because you're deaf. Why are you deaf? Because you're looking and listening for something.
Yeah.
And it's really nothing. It is like Tao is nothing. And all of these people, they're following Tao just as well as they can to move to the places they need to move. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing wrong with what they're doing.
No.
However,
it's just they're not going to get the results they want.
What this is saying is we can't also, like, we as people who tend to Tao in our lives, cannot be distracted by their movements.
Right.
We have to look at ours and look at like, I see that they're distracting themselves, and maybe that's frustrating to me. And if I am feeling some way about it, I have to look back to myself and say, where am I distracting myself?
Right.
Where in my life maybe am I doing this thing that I am saying, for me, it's like I look at that and I think about how many people they are convincing their lives are the lives to be led.
Right.
That's the thing that frustrates me, is when everyone's looking to them to be like, that's the life I want.
Right.
And I'm like,
you don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. Why would you want something that you don't even know is going on?
Right. And that's the thing for me personally. Like, that's the thing that I feel in myself when I'm still after I hear that. I go, the thing that frustrates me is that, and this is because I'm a contrarian, and because I'm like, well, look at this popular thing. The popular thing is to do this. And I don't feel understood because I'm a contrarian and my life is built off of the contrary.
Right. Absolutely.
And so I need to look at that within myself.
Right. Right. No, that's... Oh, I'm going to drop off in one.
Come back up if you have the time and space. Please come back up. Because I want to hear your take on that as well. And yeah, this is, I like that, like, you pick 35, because we are staying with the senses. And when we look at ourselves and be still with ourselves, we can get that inner innate sense, that fifth sense or sixth sense, whatever it is,
right,
to be able to understand ourselves. Now, I want to hear your take.
So I just feel like it goes hand in hand with the other passage is, like, if you're looking and seeking and wanting something, instead of just letting things come to you and being still and being in the moment and letting things come to you, but hold on, let me try and find my words correctly.
Please, take a breath.
Instead of doing that, I feel like a lot of the world is always wanting and seeking and pushing towards more and more and more. And that just leads to pure disappointment and pure just dissatisfaction with their lives. And if you just sit and let things happen and with no expectations and not seeking and trying to listen and trying to taste and trying to hear and just let those sounds come, just let those tastes settle in your mouth, just whatever it may be, I feel like you'll be more satisfied with your life because you're not pushing towards something that might be unattainable.
So we've been talking for, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months. I don't know how long we've known each other. But you have personal experience in that.
Yep, I do. I really do. Because when I first started talking to you, I was pushing, I was looking for an answer, I wanted things to happen, I wanted control, I wanted everything. And I wanted to see things happen, I wanted to hear things the right way, I wanted everything my way, and now I just let things happen, and not without, a little curiosity,
Right.
but I am very much like, okay, this is happening. It's out of my control right now. That's okay.
Accept what you cannot change and change what you can.
Exactly. And I'm just going to let things be, let things unfold as they are. And I'll be way more, satisfied with the results because I'm not pushing so fast and so hard and trying to get these results that might bite me in the ass in the end.
Right. Well, yeah, and that's, we constantly have to always come back to this word expectation.
Yes.
Yes. Expectation and desire, man. Like those two things, like I always tell people, as soon as you say I, that's ego. Yep. And then you say I want. And now all of a sudden you are embracing the ego and wanting this, whatever it is, to change. I want. Like, I want this. Now, of course, it could be like, what is my preference? Like, I want this for dinner. Okay.
Right. Okay,
and there's like, whatever, it's fine. It's not like these things are horrible to want. It's not, it's right. Like it's, but to recognize what we're saying and recognize that we're, as soon as we say I want, that is a thing of just like, I am thinking about something other than it currently is, in a way other than it is.
Yes, so true. So true. And I've let go of the word want. Instead, I say, hold on one second. Instead, I say, how about this? Or what do we think about this? Because I like to give options now instead of just demanding, I want this to happen. I want that to happen. Now I'm just like, what are the options? Like what can we do? Like,
and because I struggle with language all the time, because I think one of the best things we can do in our lives is change the way we speak to the universe, and change the way, because instead of being like, I want, I personally, what I do sometimes when I change, it's like, I'm open to receive.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm open to receive this thing. Because when I'm open to receive, it's like, if it comes, it comes.
Yes, and you're not disappointed because there's no expectations.
Right. I didn't set up in my language some sort of expectation.
Right. That is so accurate. So accurate.
So, and the thing is in this 35, we have this first line, and we get, it gets pretty riddly at the end when you look for it, and that's so connected to number 12. But the beginning of this, those who know Tao cannot be harmed. So we initially, in the first line, get thrown into this idea of being harmed. Like, where is this coming from? Why is it that it's talking about being harmed?
Right, but it's not being harmed in the way of like hurt, like physically hurt. Well, it could be, but
it could be. So that's the first sentence. Like, it ends in a period. Those who know Tao cannot be harmed. So it's stating here in some way that this is a fact. Those who know Tao cannot be harmed. It's not like it's just saying they cannot be harmed. It's not saying they will not. It's they cannot be harmed. So even if they are harmed, they are not being harmed from their perspective.
Right.
They cannot be harmed. So it is because they know Tao. And that's the only thing they have to know in order to not be able to be harmed. Mm-hmm. Then it says they removed resistance and peace remains even amid great pain and danger. So even though they could be possibly living in great pain or danger, they cannot be harmed, and peace remains in their life. But that big word in there is resistance. They removed resistance.
Yes.
And as soon as you say, I want, you're resisting what is.
What is. Yes, you're taking the words right out of my mouth. Yes. Oh, my God. Because I just feel like this so much relates to my experience being here. Is like, just like the words I've used and the thought patterns I've had have so much aligned with not existing with Tao, but now I feel like I do exist with Tao, like with I feel like I do kind of, I'm a little simpler. Like I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to resist your thoughts or your methods. I might have a different opinion, but you know what?
I can speak up and
give my opinion, but that may not change anything, and that's okay. Yeah. I will live with that. And
I bet you are a breath of fresh air for your counselors.
Oh, absolutely. They love me now.
Yeah.
They love me. They're like, Max,
and I bet you are inspiring them.
Yeah, they literally, like one of the staff members that works in the rehab department literally said to me, everyone talks about you as the epitome of growth and recovery. And because he said, because you have diagnoses that are really hard to work with, work with, and, he said, you have come such a long way that, like, people really speak highly about you. And I was like, oh, thanks. All right.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? It's not like you want to sit there and like you're happy and that feels good. But if you get caught up in that good feeling, you are going to miss the point.
Exactly. Because I don't want to inflate my ego and then keep trying to do things to impress people and yada, yada, yada. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Just keep being you because you are the best, right? And that's it. And that is the answer for every single one of us. We are the best. Trying to be something else, trying to be impressed by something, it's like, what a waste of time. What a waste of energy. And here you are connected to Tao and God and everything, and we're gonna trade that for some measly compliment, or we're gonna trade that for some attention. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it at all. So it's such a waste of time, energy, space. It's just. It's not worth it.
And here you are impressing everybody, where you thought you were going to be impressive back in the day by being the tough guy, right? You thought you were going to impress everybody with how smart you were.
Right, exactly. And how much I could, I know the system so well and yada, yada, yada. Well, nah, I'm just doing me now.
That has brought you to this point.
Yeah, it brought me a lot further than it brought me before. Let's just say that.
And I'm so, it's been a pleasure just to be on this journey with you.
Thank
and
you.
to have been, even the smallest part of all that you are experiencing now. And because, like, I love you, and
Thank
I want you to
you.
get out of this space and into
Yeah.
the next, and continue to find yourself, because, like, like, for what I've seen, you're so capable of all the things
Mhm.
out in the world and being out there. And I'm hoping that you're still getting your outdoor time and you're
Oh
getting
yeah,
to go off campus.
I have independent access for an hour each shift. I can go outside by myself, walk around. I go on trips with the staff to like Walmart or like
Yeah, yeah,
some
yeah. Just to get out.
store just to get
Yeah,
out exactly. And then
yeah.
I'm going to the clubhouse soon, and then I'll be able to get on passes with my family and my friends, and it's just all lining up, you know.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah. But
Well, and don't let the senses distract.
no, absolutely not. I'm just here for the ride.
That's right. That's right. And what a great ride. And what a great ride.
Absolutely.
I'm so
Absolutely.
excited for you.
Thank
All
you,
right. Well,
Marvin.
thank
All
you so
right.
much. I'm going to send you a message on the back channel, and we'll chat again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. That
All right.
sounds good. All right, I gotta run. I'll
Yep.
talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks again for coming up. We're going to bring JK. I know JK has been around for Max's journey as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm not taking a day off today, as I mentioned before, but
Oh, now you changed your mind?
well, it's I'm not going to be helping my buddy Tom, so I'm going to be I'm going to finish digging. I got to get yesterday. I reached a point where I realized I wasn't thinking clearly. I don't know if you've heard me talk about thinking clearly and just stop doing it, And
Mm-hmm.
so I just have to get through this week, and then I can, and then I believe I'll start thinking clearly again. I just don't think I'm sleeping enough, and my body is going through a lot of, physical stuff. And so I just got to get through this week, finish digging and put in an I-beam and joists, and then this project is done. So, but that's still a lot of, it's still a lot. So, so once that gets done, I'll be able to think again. But until then, I keep my mind off of things as much as I can.
Makes sense to me. Just focus on what you have in front of you
Yep,
till you finish
it's
it up.
easy. It's easy when like, again, I say life is easy, but I recognize that my mind is not in a state where I want to think,
Mm.
because it's not thinking clearly. So the best thing for me to do is just to embrace the physical, just do the things that I have to do, pacify where I need to pacify. Like, at the end of the day, I don't want to sit around and think. I'm just going to watch stupid shows. And I'm going to get through this week, however I need to get through this week, and allow my body to just carry it. Yeah. And then next week, hopefully this project will be done. I'll be able to clean up and then kind of integrate, right? Like, just like allow that all to be what it is. So
Have
that's
fun
what's
with
going on
that.
here. Yeah.
Enjoy that. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's interesting, and especially with those physical things. Like when I was redoing my bathroom, and I didn't, I just needed to get it to a place that it didn't look the way that it did, because we had some folks staying with us, and we only had one
Right.
bathroom in the summer.
Mm.
I couldn't think of anything else. Like I was just in that, very much so. And like it's hard. Your body's tired. You end up staying up later than you normally do. And,
Hmm.
your mind's always thinking about the next part of that project,
Right.
and especially, I mean, for me, I don't know how many foundations you've worked on, but for me, I've never worked on a bathroom before. So like it was a lot of trying to process, like, what's my next move?
Right.
But when you're physically in it, you can't see clearly. Literally, you can't. You're trying to get that piece done, and that time at night was the time for me to step back and say, okay, what's my vision for this? Really, like, where am I going? And just look at things a little bit more holistically.
Yeah, and when you're in those states, when you're tired, it's in the rooms. I learned about HALT. Have you heard me talk about HALT?
No.
So it's hungry, angry, lonely, tired.
Yes, I have.
Okay. So HALT is, and when you're at any of these things, when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, you have to stop.
Yeah.
Like, halt, stop, don't. And I look at that as like, I'm not thinking clearly. And why am I not thinking clearly? Because I'm probably a little dehydrated, which I would contribute to hunger. And I'm tired. And doing this, I mean, I'm not feeling lonely, but I am doing this alone. And so that could be coming up as well. And then like at the end of the day, that can come up especially, because it's like, oh, I've done all of this stuff. And now now here I am at the end of the day, like relaxing or resting. But all I could really use is a hug. You know what I mean? And it's like just someone to be like, hey, you're doing a good job. And it's like, I have to do that for myself. And that's fine. That's not something that I'm frustrated at. But I have to recognize that because of those things, I'm not thinking clearly, right? I have to halt. And that's it. And that's really, it's all very simple. But like I said, life is easy. And recognizing that I'm not thinking clearly gives me the opportunity to not think so that I can be calm enough to be in this state without having to, again, like talking about the senses, without being distracted by the senses that I'm having, by experience that I'm currently going through or whatever. So
Just allow the feelings to be with you and not, implode or lose it, or I think I
yeah,
remember I had similar, because I was like, nobody's helping me with this project, and I
right,
remember sitting on the bathroom floor and like just bawling my eyes out, saying, and I was exhausted. I had spent so
right,
much time, and there's other stuff going on in your world. It's not like you live in isolation. So there's other things. You still have emails, you still have texts, you still have, work or whatever little things that you have to do outside. You still have to feed yourself and drink water, and you're,
right,
depleting yourself essentially, not on purpose, but you realize, oh my gosh, I haven't drinking anything because I'm just going.
right,
But
yeah,
I sat, I sat on the floor and I was just sitting there crying, and so I can, it was, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you so upset? Like, what are you, and at the moment, in that moment where I was, that space, I didn't know how to just sit with that feeling. And I wasn't aware of what that halt or any of it, where I was like,
right,
oh, okay. I couldn't get back to the fact that I was hungry or dehydrated, or, I knew I was tired, but there wasn't that awareness there. And that piece is key, because then you can say, okay. And then when you do integrate, when you do go to the next stage of this, you can look back at that if you carry it with you at the end of the experience.
yeah.
Because maybe
And
you
it's
don't.
important.
Maybe you get
Yeah.
out of it and you're like, yeah, I feel good. Like, I hugged a tree. I'm
Right.
good.
And it's all, yeah, and it's so important to be in that space of we'll see, and curiosity, right?
Mhm.
Curiosity to seeing what it is. And I do think like it's important to, sometimes you're in the middle of something. So don't, don't muck around with it. Just like you're in the middle of it, let yourself be in the middle of it. It's
Mhm.
not that big of a deal. Like I'm experiencing, like this could be like for myself, like it's like self-doubt. It's like, oh, I got all that praise yesterday and during the show, and it felt really good.
Mhm.
By the afternoon, I was depleted. And I was experiencing the opposite of that, right? I was just like, oh man, what the hell am I doing? And it's just
Yeah.
like, it was just like, Garcia, just stop it. You know what I mean? Like, just sit down and just watch a Columbo and let it go. Like, don't think right now, because you can't. You are not in a state in which thinking is going to do you any good at all, because your mind is not working properly. Until you can get this project done, you are split. And so
Yeah.
let yourself be. And if you can, keep your diet, because that's a health thing, and I have been able to. That hasn't been something that's been a struggle at all. And if you can keep moving, and when I say diet, that's my medical diet and stuff. It's not like yeah. And really, diet to me is just what you eat. Not it's I never really mean it as, and I know this is Noom, and so like there's sometimes a different connotation to that word, but if and if you can, not drink alcohol, which is easy again, and for me, for me at this point, that's still easy and that's good. And if I can not reach for drugs or anything like that, you're winning, you're winning. And if you can get through this week without dipping into the old pacifiers, dipping into anger, dipping into deep depression or anything like that, then you're doing fine. And really doubting myself a little bit is fine. Because whatever, life is easy. I know it's going to all work out. I know that I've been held every step of the way. But when I'm not thinking clearly, it's important for me to stop thinking.
Yep. And remember that you're getting everything you need. Like that was what you had pointed out yesterday in my verse.
Yeah.
So, you're in that space, you know that you're provided for, and, so you watch a Columbo.
Yep.
It's cool. Perfect. You win. You win. It's great.
I win. I'm a winner.
You always
and that's
win.
the thing. I look around and I am totally provided for. I'm actually looking out my window right now and I got a little rain barrel and it's raining lightly and it's just dripping into the rain barrel, giving me water to water my plants later. It's like I am totally being provided for in so many ways. And those plants are going to give me greens so I can stay on my diet. It's so beautiful.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, life is easy.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
You got a number?
I do. 50.
50. Awareness of death.
Yes. That is it.
50. Awareness
I'm
of
okay.
death.
Thank you. Thanks for checking. Have a good day. Yeah, I am. Somebody stopped because I'm sitting. And I've started doing.
Are you sitting in a puddle again?
No, I'm not. I was sitting on a branch that was wet the last time.
Yeah, and it's funny how you can sit on it. It slowly leaks in.
Oh my God. I was freezing going back. My teeth were chattering as I was walking back because it was chilly that morning. It wasn't real cold, but it was probably, I don't know, whatever, in the 40s somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was literally, my teeth are chattering going back. And I was like, that wasn't the best idea, but okay.
Wet 40s is a big difference between dry 40s.
And then on Friday, it was pouring. And I go out and whatever. I go out in all the weather. I walk every day, even if it's just a little bit. But I went and I did my walk, and I was like, all I kept thinking of when I got back, and I was like, I'm a wet dog. I was just walking in the house, and I was saying that, and my son goes, "What do you mean?" He just looked at me like, "What's wrong with you?" But anyway, I started in the woods where I used to move the whole time that I was out, and whatever. And I stopped doing that. I take a little bit of a pause in between. So I'm just sitting here and I can see where the guy probably was like, damn, did she fall and break her leg? Because I'm just sitting here with my leg up on this other tree branch. I find these little seats that I feel like I fit into.
See, that's so nice. You're so connected to the earth, and that's so beautiful.
Yeah, I was connected. I went on the balance beam branch that I had today, and I was like, I'm gonna lay on this. Let me see if I can lay.
That's fun, man.
You're talking to Max, and I'm I didn't the first time I couldn't balance myself on this big tree. And so I fall and I'm fell off of it. And so I got back up and I tried again, boom, again. So I'm just laughing at myself. I finally did get it. But I had to fall off to get off because I didn't know how to get off. So I'm learning. Anyway.
Yeah, and I think that, just those experiences are always teaching us about our world around us, giving us moments of fun, and you're not so, you're not so pent up, you're connected to the earth, you're connected to this tree, and you're going to be able to notice things. I remember when I was younger, and I'm going to read 50 shortly, but I remember when I was younger, I had a neighbor who was into the esoteric stuff. It's interesting that I've become into esoteric things, but like, there's all these stories about her, like she blessed the house and she did work on the, like she did tarot cards and she, had, visions and all these sorts of things. And we used to talk a lot. And I was really intrigued with all that because I always used to see things in the corner of my eye. And so I always kind of was just like, we're not alone, like there's spirits around all the time, and I forgot where I was going with all that. But it's, like it was, what
you're
was that?
esoteric. That you were into that, and it's funny you're esoteric. You
Yeah,
were
yeah,
saying,
yeah. She was esoteric. I've become esoteric, in terms of like energy work and all that kind of stuff. And the energy that we get from the earth and from like just playing and experiencing and being connected. Again, I don't know why those stories came together anymore, but they did. Either way, awareness of death. Every being is entrusted with life for a time. However, it's only a prelude to death. Some live as optimists, embracing life. Others as pessimists, embracing death. Some even live in preservation, passively living, advancing towards death. The master lives aware of her appointment with death. This brings her to knowing real life. She cannot be harmed by rhinoceros or man. Her movements flow from her being. She cannot be fooled by illusion or hallucination. Her actions flow from her being. She has freed herself of all separation, even the distinction between life and death. Anything stand out? Oh, you dropped, and I'm sitting here waiting for you to say something. Okay, well... that's me not paying attention to what's going on.
it's all right. I used all my seconds. I'm so proud. Did not, I did not get bogged down with the time. Yeah, so looking at this and looking at some of the other numbers that have kind of come up for me recently, and looking at what you were saying too, even about connection and, yeah, I do this because I am inspired, whatever. I saw the log and I was like, what's it like to lay on that log? What's a
Yeah.
broken tree? Like it's not anything, to be, I'm not finding the word, but to be revered in any way. It's just what I'm doing. I'm just doing what I'm doing and getting to that space and listening, to Max and really trying to balance out, getting what you need, your wants, this idea of, Wandering Fool was talking about yesterday about manifesting things. And, I got to thinking about it too. And I think, and you were talking about the subtle. So I was thinking about all these pieces lately, just how do they come together for me? We read, and the numbers that I remembered were we read 8, which is the be like water.
Mm-hmm.
And that being, I read that one again recently and I was like, okay, and I'm just listening to being a donation and all the pieces. But one of the words that stood out to me was we're aiming to be like water. We're aiming to be this
You're right.
person that is yielding and all this. So it's idealistic almost in some regard. This is the this is a pure state almost, because you're aiming for this ideal almost. And then, went back to, what was the next one? We were talking about 18 and 38. And 38 actually came up for me again.
Okay.
And those were the disillusion of Tao and the other
Right.
Tao one. Out of touch with Tao, I think, are the two. And looking at those again, and when you start forming that structure in 18, just thinking about it chronologically, and because you have a family, and then you have a hierarchy in that one,
Right.
and then you get to 38. And 38, we got identity there. We're trying to prove stuff. You're a kind man, and we're a just man, and we're all these things. And then I think 38, you said that there's a switch there, that it switches, that's the second part of the Tao.
Yeah, 38 starts looking at, like, in a very concerted way, looking at how we work in society or how we work in a group, where the first 37 are really about our experience with Tao internally,
Yeah.
and by ourselves. Now, I would also argue that you can read anything after 38 being like, well, your body is full of cells. Each one of those cells has a consciousness, and that's a community. And so you can be with yourself as well, but it often talks about the bigger community.
Yeah, and thinking about that, like, and then you get like them. I think yesterday we read 41, which was laughing at Tao one. And
Right.
when you're talking about this individual versus community, I mean, all of it is intertwined because now, yesterday, we're so lost in our identities that we don't know what's real anymore. We lose sight
Right.
of, that what our truth is. And by reality, and that's something that these are all things that like and then I look at my life, obviously, how does that, these are all pieces that this kind of road that I feel like I've traveled specifically with some of those numbers and thinking about, of course, because you don't ever lose that identity completely. You're going to shift in and out of it either way. So your oneness is within, that oneness as an individual, your oneness as a group. Those are all embedded in that second half anyway,
Right.
because you've already brought this with you. But that 41, getting lost in this and then looking at 50, that idea that we can't be harmed, because what I realized these last couple of weeks as I'm doing this integration work, is I did go somewhat in some of my relationships, realizing this other side of it because I was so forceful. I came from a place from one extreme to the other, or so forceful. And then, trying to still find that balance with that, that balance where I'm not depleting myself and my energy, to yield, because that's not natural. That's not the natural way either. That
Right.
is not, and getting stuck on, things needed to be a certain way instead of what is. I'm provided for. I'm getting what I need, and looking at, all the experiences and saying, okay, what are we being told here, in this experience, but not, the ones you take away, the ones that stay with you. But the other thing, like I was struggling with, is like, okay, so you've got food, you have water, you have shelter, right? So you should be good. But
Right.
that's my physical body, right? That's my physical, and then that contributes to, because I'm separate, but I'm not, right?
Mm-hmm.
That spiritual, being spiritually fulfilled. But then looking at what else, what are those core foundational things that my spirit needs? I don't know, trying to look at
Let's
that. And
let's stop for a second.
go ahead.
No, I have nothing to go ahead with. I'm just gonna.
Oh,
I just want to just take a breath.
okay.
Not that I just there's a lot of thoughts, and it's good. Being here is what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's interesting because as you're talking, I'm thinking, like of the chronological or the like the linear message within the Tao is present, and I didn't really know that, and I kind of had a feeling about it for a long time, but it wasn't until I wrote my rendition, wrote my version, that I really sort of was able to embody and understand that. And as you're collecting sort of numbers, and that's what that is, right? Like we're collecting, and we're saying, oh, and then this, and then this, and then this, and that's all fine. There's nothing And I'm not trying to criticize that. It's just like there's a lot. And so what my sort of my pause and right now is all about is just to be like, hey, I love you. Like, and this is such a beautiful journey of just being here. And I just wanted to take a breath, and take a pause just because it is a lot.
Well, thank you.
And I couldn't help but, like as we're talking about it being linear in some way, right now, I just read the first couple lines because it's in front of me of 51, which is the next one in line, which says, life is a gift received from Tao. It sustains all things as part of that gift. All things means the things that we struggle with and the things that we embrace and the things that we love. And before that, everything is entrusted with life for a time. And then the next one is life is a gift. But you only have it for so much time. And it's a prelude to death. And yet when you can look at life as more than just action and as part of everything, as it says at the end of 50, she has freed herself of separateness. And because it's not separate, because death is not separate from life, I don't have to have fear.
And
Now, go on.
No, that's really where I
Yeah.
ultimately ended up. Is so I was going through all these things and started thinking all this stuff and ending up and then 50 was showing up for me and
Right.
ending up with the fact that, stop grasping, stop trying, because I realized in that moment that I'm overanalyzing it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
really overanalyzing it and I'm losing sight of the big picture because I'm so in it and I was exhausted.
Yeah. This is
And
what we're talking about in the middle of this. Some live as optimists embracing life. Others live as pessimists embracing death. Some live as in preservation, passively living in vain. Who cares how you live it?
exactly.
Who cares? It doesn't matter. You can live any of these things. Go ahead, enjoy your trip. But the master lives aware of her appointment with death. She doesn't live in any specific way. She lives just simply aware that this is temporary.
Yeah. And letting it all go. And that's kind of where I came back to at the end
Right.
of all of this, it was just an interesting journey because I was really exhausted because then I started analyzing my relationships and this and that. And
Right.
exactly. And none of it fucking matters. And
No,
I'm like,
it's
wait
all
a
stupid.
second. Yeah. I was like, wait a second. What are you doing? You are literally just lost in the weeds here. Like you
Yeah.
have gotten through and you can see like the time but I had to go through that.
Yes.
I
No
needed
one could tell you you're lost in the weeds and
no,
explain that to you in a way that would make sense because you would just go and think more.
that's right. And
Yeah.
when you said to me yesterday, the last line of 41, I was like, yep, you're getting exactly what you need right now,
Right.
and being able to come back to it doesn't matter, whether your relationships, you have connections or you don't, or you this or that, all these it doesn't matter. They're there. So what? You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
stop
This is what
making,
you're
you're
experiencing
making
right here.
things exactly and get what you need from that and then let it go, let it die.
Mm-hmm.
Be
Yeah.
aware that it's going to end because you're getting lost in this cycle of thought, trying to figure something out that does not have an answer.
Right.
There's no
Right.
question here except your
Right.
questioning.
Absolutely. There's no question. There's
There's
no
no
question.
question.
And
Exactly.
we're
So
constantly trying to answer that question. And that's why, we see in the Tao all these learnings, like people are searching, what for if God is in you? What are you looking
that's
for?
right.
What is it you are looking for? And it says here, like the master lives aware of her appointment with death. She doesn't live passively. She doesn't live optimistically. She doesn't live pessimistically. She lives aware of her appointment with death, period. That brings her to knowing real life. And that real life is capitalized. That brings her to knowing real life. And like that lands. If you can hear that, right? If it lands like deep in your gut, that brings her to knowing real life. And it's like there's this sense of heavy calmness. This like earth connection when I read that, like that's what I feel. And then it says, she cannot be harmed by rhinoceros or man. Her movements flow from her being because she's inspired. So every movement comes through God, comes through Tao. She cannot be fooled by illusion or hallucination. Her actions flow from her being. She knows that she is connected to all things, and she doesn't try and be optimistic about it or pessimistic about it, or she doesn't try to preserve this moment. She allows it to be. She's freed herself of all separateness. She's connected to it all, even the distinction between life and death. And like that just grounds us, right? Like that we can just almost feel like our spine connecting to the center of the earth. And it's like, here we are. I know what real life is.
Finding that peace and not being fearful. I lived in fear for a long time, that fear that I was going to be, but I'm getting everything I need regardless. It doesn't matter, what part of me is getting it. It's all the same. And
Right.
allowing that to be, and, not limit myself by the things that are, so what, it's scary. Who cares? Allow yourself to be in the present, in that moment, and
Okay. You dropped out. Because your is where you ended. You want to enjoy it because you're... you want to enjoy it because you're...
I want to enjoy it, period. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you want to enjoy this and separating yourself from the distinctions between good and bad, right and wrong, all of those things. And
All
really
the
looking
things.
at, well, do I like that I do this? And that's the thing. When you become aware, I don't like that I am doing this, whether it's, analyzing every little thing in your life or eating chocolate cake, like whatever it is, just recognize that you don't like that you're doing it. And that doesn't mean you have to stop, that you keep on keeping on. But but recognizing that you don't like that you do it will eventually yield some change.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you so
Eventually
much.
it's all going to change. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you
Eventually
too.
it's not going to be the same.
Nope.
It's all going to change.
All right. Well, thank
All
you
right.
so much. And I love you
Absolutely.
too. Thank you
Love you.
for taking a minute. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
We'll
Bye.
talk soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Once again, I wanted to just, do my little, do my little thing and tell you guys that because I'm no longer supported by Noom Vibe, Tao of the Day, I do rely on your contributions if you appreciate this work. So if you find the work valuable, or if you like the teachings and they bring insight, clarity, or a moment of peace, please support me through Buy Me a Coffee. You can support me directly through Buy Me a Coffee at buymeacoffee.com/MartinJohn. What you can simply just look at my profile and get the links to those. You can get the links to my website or Linktree and find me there. You can yeah, support me in any way you can. All the love you guys send me, all the positive thoughts, all the vibes, all the things, and all the coins, all the, like, money's helpful. So thank you guys so much for joining me. And I appreciate you following me and following Dow and following Max and JK and all of the journeys that have been exposed here on Tao of the Day. So much of Tao of the Day brings people to knowing themselves, I think, and being vulnerable. And for you to be here with me, witnessing that vulnerability and praying for and holding each other up is so beautiful. Yeah. I can't help but think of Susan. It's been a while since I've heard from Susan. Last time we talked, it was very vulnerable for her. And just sending her some little extra love. All right. Thank you guys so much. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.